In life, the people you surround yourself with can either elevate you or drag you down. And one of the biggest mistakes you can make is keeping weak men in your circle. Men who lack discipline, self-respect, and the mental fortitude to face life's challenges. Weakness isn't just about physical strength. It's a mindset, a way of thinking and living that fosters insecurity, laziness, and excuses. Today, we're diving deep into the 7 signs of a weak man you should get rid of. Because if you don't, their weakness might just infect you too. Before we begin, if you find value in content that challenges your thinking and inspires self-improvement, make sure to subscribe to this channel. And if this message has reached you at the exact time you needed to hear it, share your views and insights in the comments section. Let's get started. 1. He lacks discipline and self-control. A weak man is ruled by his impulses. He lacks the discipline to resist temptations and often indulges in distractions that add no real value to his life. Whether it's excessive time spent on social media, binge-watching TV shows, or playing video games for hours without purpose, he chooses instant gratification over long-term growth. Instead of prioritizing self-improvement, he allows laziness and bad habits to dictate his actions. A man without discipline cannot achieve greatness. The Stoics, especially Epictetus, emphasize that self-control is the foundation of a strong character. A man who cannot control his cravings, emotions, and daily habits will never reach his full potential. True freedom comes from self-mastery, when a man is in charge of his desires rather than being controlled by them. If you find yourself around someone who constantly makes excuses for his failures, blames external circumstances, and refuses to take charge of his own life, he is dead weight, dragging you down. The road to success demands consistency, focus, and sacrifice, qualities a weak man is unwilling to develop. 2. He complains but never takes action. We all face hardships, obstacles, and unfair circumstances in life. However, a weak man sees himself as a perpetual victim rather than an individual capable of overcoming challenges. Instead of taking ownership of his problems and working towards solutions, he complains endlessly about how unfair life is. You'll often hear him blame society, his upbringing, the government, or even fate for his misfortunes, all while doing nothing to improve his condition. The Stoics believed in focusing only on what you can control: your actions, thoughts, and responses. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, taught that external events are beyond our power, but how we respond to them defines our strength. A weak man, however, does the opposite. He wastes energy on things he cannot change and ignores the areas of life where he can take action. These men are energy vampires, constantly draining those around them with their negativity. They feed off attention, seeking pity rather than solutions. If you keep such people in your circle, they will influence your mindset, lower your standards, and make you see the world through a lens of failure rather than opportunity. 3. He seeks validation instead of respect. A weak man craves approval from others because he lacks confidence in himself. Instead of standing firm in his beliefs, he constantly changes his opinions to fit in with different crowds. He avoids confrontation, suppresses his true thoughts, and agrees with others just to be liked. He fears rejection so much that he'd rather be a people-pleaser than someone who commands respect. The problem with seeking validation is that it makes a man dependent on external opinions rather than internal strength. Stoicism teaches us to be indifferent to praise or criticism because neither defines who we truly are. A strong man doesn't need the approval of others to validate his worth. He lives by his principles regardless of who supports or opposes him. Respect is earned through character, consistency, and standing for something, while validation is temporary and dependent on external approval. If you surround yourself with men who constantly seek validation instead of standing on their own, you'll find yourself in the company of weak minds that follow rather than lead. He avoids responsibility. One of the most defining traits of a weak man is his inability to take responsibility for his life. Whether it's his finances, relationships, career, or personal growth, he always finds a way to shift blame onto something or someone else. He avoids making difficult decisions and often relies on others to solve his problems. If something goes wrong, he will immediately look for an excuse instead of owning up to his mistakes. Responsibility is the foundation of masculinity. It's what separates boys from men. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." In other words, obstacles are not meant to be avoided, they are meant to be faced head-on. A weak man, however, views every obstacle as a reason to give up. Instead of taking charge of his future, he settles for mediocrity. He complains about his job but never seeks a better one. He dreams of success but never puts in the effort. If you have such a man in your circle, he will drag you down to his level of avoidance and inaction. 5. He has no purpose or direction. A man without purpose is a man without power. He drifts through life aimlessly, with no sense of direction or ambition. He wakes up every day with no mission, no goals, and no plan for the future. He simply exists, rather than living with intention. Stoicism emphasizes that every man must define his own purpose and live with virtue. A strong man sets his eyes on a higher goal, whether it's building a career, mastering a skill, improving his mind, or contributing to society. He understands that life without purpose leads to emptiness and regret. On the other hand, a weak man lets external circumstances dictate his life. He waits for things to happen instead of making them happen. If you associate with men who have no drive, ambition, or purpose, their lack of direction will slowly seep into your own mindset. 6. He is emotionally unstable. Strength is not about suppressing emotions, it's about mastering them. A weak man, however, is completely controlled by his emotions. He overreacts to small issues, gets easily offended, and allows his mood swings to dictate his actions. Whether it's anger, jealousy, or fear, he lacks the emotional intelligence to handle adversity with composure. Seneca once said, "A man is as miserable as he thinks he is." This means that our emotional state is a direct reflection of how we choose to interpret our circumstances. A strong man remains calm in the face of chaos. He does not allow setbacks, insults, or failures to shake his inner peace. A weak man, however, is impulsive, unpredictable, and emotionally fragile. His instability will create unnecessary drama in your life. If you want peace and stability, avoid men who let their emotions control them. 7. He fears failure and rejection. A weak man avoids taking risks because he is paralyzed by the fear of failure. Instead of seeing setbacks as opportunities to grow, he views them as proof that he's not good enough. He plays it safe, never pushing himself beyond his comfort zone, and as a result, he remains stagnant. But life rewards those who dare to step into the unknown. Stoicism teaches us that failure is not the enemy. It is a teacher. Epictetus wisely said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." A strong man understands that rejection and failure are inevitable parts of life, and he uses them as stepping stones to success. If a man in your life allows fear to dictate his actions, he will never achieve greatness, and worse, he may hold you back from reaching yours. A weak man is more than just a burden. He is a liability. His weaknesses will rub off on you, slowing your progress, draining your energy, and holding you back from your full potential. The Stoics taught us that we should only surround ourselves with people who uplift us, challenge us, and inspire us to be better. If you recognize these signs in someone in your life, it might be time to let them go. This is the Wise Stoic channel. If you found this video helpful, subscribe for more content on self-improvement and Stoic wisdom. Stay strong, stay focused, and until next time, keep walking the path of wisdom. Thank you for watching.